Welcome to a special edition of Meet the Music. I'm your host, Thomas Corley. This is a special edition because of a couple of planned recording sessions did not take place. This episode is actually the first episode we recorded. The recording is with my daughter, DJ Holographic. She was gracious enough to be my first guest before I had a format to the podcast. The episode was recorded September 20th, so you will have a reference point to a few things mentioned during the conversation. Listen in as we talk about her being creative during the pandemic, the release of her EP, Parallel Shifting. By the time you hear this, you can find her on a couple of compilations, one being Carl Craig's Detroit Love, Volume 5, with her, Faith in My Cup. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Please enjoy. So, welcome to the first episode of Meet the Music. I'm Tom Corley, your host. And we are, of course, like I said, recording our first episode. And our first guest is DJ Holographic, someone who I'm very familiar with, someone I've known for over 30 years. So, let's get to it. So, how are you? How are you doing during this pandemic?
I'm good. So you know me as DJ Holographic, also known as Ariel Corley, or AC to the very close few. During the pandemic, technically, the calendar tells me September, but I feel like it's still March. And I feel like that because, personally, I'm not going to do, the seasons like I normally do for either me personally as a human or just as, an artist. So, usually springtime is when we'll start getting ready for festivals and getting ready for this big summer happening. So spring, I'm okay, getting ready to get back into stuff. It's still gray outside in Michigan, and I'm okay, we'll still do some warehouse parties inside, but you're excited to go out and explore and have more fun and meet new people. And then movement didn't happen this year officially, and so for that always marked, since graduating high school, that has always marked beginning of my summer. Been going since 2008. Let me take that back. How old am I? Since 2008 with some of my best friends, and so since I didn't have that kind of ritual moment, it feels like I still haven't started the year. And in the summertime, same thing of seeing more family. I've been touring usually the last 2 years outside in Europe. But yeah, definitely, I've seen family all of Detroit, barbecuing, 4th of July, spending time with them. And then August, kind of wrapping it up with, the season of, okay, you just gathered all your fruits, and now you, have a whole bunch of, honestly, income stream, and now you're, planning for the winter to kind of, settle in. And being inspired by all these things too, about all the new people you've met, the summer you've had, and then campfires start happening right now. But because I didn't have any of these ritual season things and music stuff, it feels like I haven't done anything. But then I would be lying to myself at the same time, because musically this year I was able to make a label called Hitchhiker. I was able to have my first EP out in July, and then what else have I done? I've done a little bit of festivals online, which we can talk more about, and I feel like I've done a lot actually for the summertime. I wouldn't be able to do any of these things if I was on tour mentally. So
yeah. So speaking of that, the substitution for your touring.
Yes.
You did virtual.
Yes.
How many virtuals did you do?
I've only done maybe 3 or 4, and that's only compared to how many times I've been asked about doing them. Yeah. I've been probably asked maybe 20, 30 times during the time period, which makes me happy that people want to reach out to me and want me to do that, but I tend to turn them down because of how much energy it is to actually do a virtual one.
Well, speaking of that energy, that's what I guess my next question is, how was the experience with each one? Where is it the same or is it totally different?
Yeah, they're totally different. And also you had to put yourself in a really good mindset and like emotionally be ready, because when you're about to go to a gig, you're emotionally ready to like feed off the crowd and see like we can have this conversation back and forth like we're doing now. But really, when you're doing a virtual one to begin with, I'm having a conversation just by myself, and I can do that, but I've been training the last 10 years to do it with other people and not by myself. The bedroom DJ part is like we're all having to go back into doing that again.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the bedroom DJ.
Yeah.
So more or less, you're playing for yourself as an audience.
Yeah,
It's
and
stuff that you like and maybe remember from a gig.
Yes.
That you did. Okay.
And then for yourself, when you're even talking to yourself, you critique yourself a lot more than anybody else will, and then you're also, as you're critiquing yourself, you're also like, okay, well maybe I can do something really crazy here. And in society, be like, that's too much for us, like that. Like, keep your thoughts to yourself. But yeah, it's different. I've done a couple like in friends' basements with their gear, and I've done a few at a bar called Marble Bar, and that's one that's like just around the corner for me, and that's one I would say I kind of have like a residency there because they treat me so nice.
Right.
But yeah, they've been really nice. I've done 2 so far, and then I did one with Paxa House, which are the people that do movement, and so they're really affected. I'm happy that they have enough income to like do a festival next year if they can start getting back to moving. But that was the other thing. A lot of festivals that asked me to do virtual stuff.
Okay.
They got bankrupt. They can't do a festival next year.
Wow, that's interesting. But you mentioned your EP.
Yes.
Parallel Shifting.
Yes.
I like it. My favorite is My Feels.
My Feels, yeah.
Yeah. But explain that whole experience
Of making
the
the
start,
music.
yeah, the start of it, the concept, where it came from, how you partnered.
So the whole experience of making it was actually, we kind of got a lot of it done in a whole month, but it was like every single day, like the whole month of March last year is when we finished it. So this song was pretty much done last year. It was just hard to like sell it to other labels, which I'll come back to that in a second. But it was definitely just like a really fun song to make with somebody I barely know, because at that moment I met Alex for only a month.
Okay.
And so we kind of just like hit it off pretty well, and just kind of went through a whole experience. And so with playing, at least for the Because Detroit, that one was just like very instant. So I think because I'm hanging out with Alex so much and he's just moving to Detroit / Hamtramck really, we have these conversations. I'm explaining to him how I feel about Detroit and what Detroit is overall. And so we have moments in the car, we're just cruising around because we can't be in the studio for this long. Actually, the studio is much smaller than this space, so like you can only handle it for so much. And so we're in the car and we're talking, and then he said, hey, how about we just do a conversation like we were having in the car all the time, but you talking about Detroit and in the vocals. And Alex has been a really good friend to support me on bringing my vocals up for each track. So each track has my vocals on them. And so we just ended up doing the Because of Detroit, and we're talking, and I can hear my passion for my city light up, but also just being how I was raised there a lot. So between both living in both grandmothers' homes each summer, I can just, hear music, more music than the other, but it is kind of like music's always around consistently in the conversations. And so it just kind of brought that up a lot. And what else happened? So that's Because of Detroit. Then Parallel Shifting, you make a choice, and between your choices you can go, I've always told you can go one or two ways, but then listening to them, they can go thousands and millions, and it's infinity of how many ways you can go from that one choice in your life.
Okay.
And from that one choice, you might choose this one, but another dimension might choose another, and it kind of keeps shifting into that, and so you can shift into other dimensions, and that's what parallel shifting came through.
Okay.
And I'm just listening to a lot of these.
Was it a
talks.
lecture or something? It was a lecture.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Okay.
Lectures and a few books. At that time, I was just reading about the choices that people make, and it's happening. And so I just started doing that one. And in my mind, I thought of just saw that as an experience. And then my feels, that one was because I saw a woman named Octa play at Marble Bar that month before, and she's just so loving in her set. I just kind of felt her feelings, and everybody felt them, and so I just kind of felt like when you're DJing, you're putting out your energy of your love or like your strength or whatever you're doing, and everybody kind of feels it in the room, whatever you're doing. And then as a crowd, like I know as a DJ, I feel everybody else's energy in the space, and it comes back to me.
Yeah, that's one of the things you often share with me when I asked you about performances, particularly when you were performing in the U.S. and performing in Europe. You were telling me how the vibe was totally different.
Totally different. It's not the same, and it's okay that it's not the same too. I know when I go play in Europe, I always try to make sure I don't hold back, but I feel like I can't tell a complete story when I go to Europe. I feel like I can only tell you parts of the conversation, because and not to be rude to anybody in Europe, but I feel like an ego is like blocking half of the conversation that you don't want to hear. And in Detroit, I can tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Same thing in Atlanta, I can do that too. But when I go to Europe, I just feel like I can't tell you the whole conversation because you might get hurt feelings.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. So, but going back to the EP, so I mean, did you guys record in Detroit?
Yeah, we did everything.
And where at? What studio?
At Submerge. And Submerge is a space that Underground Resistance, a big techno, I guess it's like second generation of techno. The guy that's running it is Mike Banks, and yeah, like I use that space, and he has a whole bunch of studios within the space. There was a lot of other artists, but yeah, we made it in there with I think like Ableton and a couple, programs on Ableton, but also like a couple of my little, I think E1's drum machine that I had. So it was cool. Yeah. It was really nice.
Yeah. So Alex Wilcox.
Yeah. Alex, like I said, I met Alex maybe just 1 month before we started making tracks.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So I met him last year in February at one of my monthly gigs called Cosmic and Deluxe Flux, and I met him, and yeah, we just started talking a little bit, and then I had to hop back on the decks, but we exchanged information, and yeah, after that we kind of just I brought him out to more shows or stopped talking to him and seeing what his game plan is musically. He seemed like a soul that really wanted to follow through, because sometimes I'll meet people that talk but never actually do the action, or I meet people that just do action, not the talk. Well, I barely meet people that do the action, do the talk, but he felt like he was talking and doing action, so I was like, okay, well, this would be fun, a good experience. And after that, we just kind of kicked it off, and I feel like I learned a lot from Alex, not just production-wise, but also being willing to, share the space, because I've been such a leader that it's nice to have somebody I can throw ideas with, and they'll say no to it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people don't want to say no, or they get mad and they no, they want to, I don't know, the ego gets involved too quickly.
Right.
With Alex, it doesn't feel like that.
Well, it's funny, your shirt that you had on yesterday talks about egos.
Yeah, don't serve egos. No, not at all. It doesn't have there's no space for that, because you have your ego involved, it's going to hold you back all the time. So.
Right. So, the label, Hitchhiker. Now, initially, you were kicking around quite a few different names.
Yeah.
And you called me with one, and Hitchhiker was not on that list.
It was on the list.
Hitchhiker was on the list?
Yeah, it was on the list.
Oh.
It
was on the list. Yeah. Right, it was on the list.
It was on the list.
Okay, so how did you settle on Hitchhiker then?
I think I settled on Hitchhiker because of a couple of things, but I think mainly because what was it? The feeling of, so I like Jim Morrison a lot. He's one of my favorite lyricists. He's also Sagittarius. If you don't know what short term of that is.
I had no clue.
No, he is, and the way he puts out lyrics is how I mentally like think of stuff, I guess. It's very storytelling. It's very so that was one of them. Another reference is also Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is a good book and movie. And it's kind of almost, I feel like, mentally the same thing. You should make your own choices.
Right.
And be intentional with your choices.
So, Hitchhiker, that's not the label that Parallel Shifting is on, correct?
It is.
It is on.
I actually had to create a label to put out my music this year. Because the year before, me and Alex like finished a track, and it was just hard to like actually make the time to sell it to other labels on top of finding the right ones to be on the label with, because our music was very different than who I personally know that I play with. So my like what I DJ doesn't sound exactly what the music I've made. Now I can play it and it's fun, but it's not actually like very like Chicago house or Detroit house. It's not.
But you're techno.
Huh?
Is it techno? I mean, is that this genre you would put it in?
I don't know. Like, I guess, like, it'd be closer to maybe something called, techno, like tech house, maybe.
Yeah.
But even the songs that I play that are like that don't sound like it to me.
Well.
But it blends in very easily.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if this is going to offend you or not, but, I mean, when I listen to a particular Parallel Shifting, I got an industrial type of feel.
Yeah.
It was heavy for me.
Yeah.
And it sounded more mechanical. Mm-hmm. So that's what my ears took when I heard it.
Yeah, and it feels like that. One of the stories I kind of told myself when we were making the song was like the music video. Excuse me, a music video of me going to like a warehouse party. Say the Russell Industrial is the main one, and I felt like they have these like staircases that you kind of have to go up to, and they kind of like look the same over and over again. So I felt like when we made that song, I'm going up the staircase to go to this party, and I can hear the music from the staircase, and like you're getting closer and closer, and just like how sound moves, like when you get closer, it gets louder, and so it felt that space feels industrial, and so I made the song kind of industrial.
Yeah, well, that's what I got from it. So
so it'd be I guess that would be closer to like techno than actual house music on that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you see yourself going outside of techno house?
I would see myself going out of that because my taste is not just techno and house,
right.
And I feel like you shouldn't like be in one particular space.
Take yourself.
Yeah.
So then those who are from Detroit, who know you're from Detroit and how you love Detroit and how you are open and giving, and so a new artist can come to Hitchhiker, and say, hey, can you produce my record, my song? Yeah, okay. Because there's probably going to be a few people locally, who aspire to be a DJ or aspire to be an R&B singer or inspire to be, gospel singer even. We have a lot of gospel singers in Detroit. So
this is true. We really do.
And collaboration for you. I mean, one of the things I liked about Frankie Knuckles is that he had a soul or a gospel kind of feel to his music. So, I like Natural and Frankie Knuckles too, and I appreciate you introducing Frankie Knuckles to me. I'm pretty sure you, when Frankie Knuckles and Avant, you showed me a lot of great music. And I feel that too, because one of the last songs I've made is called Faith in My Cup. I'm not sure if that's like the title completely, but I have somebody that's doing a lot of vocals on it. He could definitely bring a very gospel feel to it, but for a collaboration with him, I can easily like start working with him on another project with Hitchhiker. But I know, just like how I made Hitchhiker this year, it was not like at all in my plans. It was not in the stars. But I feel like when I start introducing more artists, it would probably be
not until like 2 to 5 years from now, personally, for me. Just because I'm still building my craft as like a musician. And try and build your craft as a musician and then also make a label. I mentally can't do that. It's like a left and right brain conversation, and I'd rather work on just the creative part for a second.
So you have a feel for potential artists, but you're not ready to bring them under the umbrella.
Exactly, and then also when people start, asking me questions about coming in, because like as soon as I made my label, I already had like a few emails come through about what can I do to be part of your label, and I'm like, I just put in a song.
Okay.
I just started, and
you mean were these artists coming to you or producers? Okay,
producers coming to me.
Okay,
which is great. That means great things for the future, but I also want to make sure I have a good foundation for these artists. There's no point of, let's all do it right now, and I have no foundation for you.
Okay.
I need to make sure, like, if I just put out a label, I need to make sure there's, like, a good couple year foundation of making sure everything runs smoothly for myself, because I'll make mistakes for myself, but when other people come in, I don't want to do that, too. So,
yeah. So before you got a management company, how was your experience of booking yourself in the U.S. versus Europe?
It's different. I feel like in America, everything seems a little easier in America for me.
Yeah.
So you reach out to people, and then you do the connections and the dots, but like getting booked here in Europe, in the United States, I had more connections. I knew more people. People had more of a yes or a no answer, at least. And then a lot of people in the United States would reach out to me more often. So that also helped. But when I did things in Europe, I didn't have people reach out to me. I had to reach out to them, so I do the cold calling. Yeah. And from there, other than Jacob, actually with Buttons, it was really the easiest one to connect the dots in communication. Everybody else, like, it wasn't like annoying, but it was not as smooth and easy, because they do something differently over there, and they haven't gotten to tell me how they do different things. They just kind of like expect you to already know or something like that. And that's okay, but even with them, I felt like it honestly, and I don't care if anybody hears this, but honestly, it felt less professional in Europe to me than in America, other than with Jacob, because they had the contracts, they had like how much they directly were going to paid me either advance, not having to chase anybody. So and when you're in Europe, if you're going across another country, to perform. They should be more sympathetic about you're coming over here, so you already put your money down, so you should pay me and respect the space and time that I gave you. Right. So yeah, it's a little bit more challenging, but I did everything the best I could, and I did a great job. So. Oh
yeah. How? Because you've been going back and you've been booked even more. So how many countries have you played in?
Oh, I don't know. I've played so far. For sure in, United States. I've played in the UK. I played in London. I played in Germany quite a few times. I played in France. I played in Spain. And that's it so far.
It's pretty big, widespread area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've traveled in more, but those are the places I've actually DJed so far.
So you, during the pandemic, you were able to perform.
Yes.
At the now known Aretha Franklin Amphitheater, but in a kind of offset of that.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
That was it. When we first got the email, it's kind of like.
Let me ask you this question: was this your first gig
with people?
Yeah, since the pandemic.
Yeah, because the last gig I had before the pandemic was in San Diego, and that was a really nice gig. I actually bumped into Kevin Saunderson and his family, and so that was the last gig I physically got to play at. And then then this one, so that's like August. So that's like quite a few months in between. And, you know, everybody, with everything happening, I want to be safe as humanly possible. But at the same time, like, I know just because I'm being safe doesn't mean other people are being safe.
Right.
And that's been, like, really, I think, the real thing about America is, like, some people are just not caring. Like, there's no caring, there's no thinking about other people. It's just more of, like, me, which, honestly, that's what it's been about for a long time, depending on what your family values are.
Right.
And so you can just kind of see out in the crowd, like, whose family values are, like, you know, help other people, respect other people, like, you know, think of others when they're wearing a mask. That's all I can instantly tell your value system if you're wearing a mask. And if you're not wearing a mask, I can instantly tell, like, your family's me, very selfish. Like, I don't even have to have a conversation with you. So on that point, when I was playing, I was very distant from everybody because I was up on a hill. So I'm happy I got to play. I wish I was able to record it. I was trying to record it, but we had, like, technical issues. So it was a really fun crowd because I could play for the people that pay to get in, but also play to people that were on their bikes and walking around.
Yeah. You shared with me some time ago about the concept of Detroit having longer hours after 2 o'clock, basically, just having a more late night scene like they do in Europe, in particular in Berlin. Do you have any idea where that's at within the city? Where decision makings are, has that been shut down?
I think that's been on pause because we can't even have festivals, we can't have bars or clubs open. Nobody, like, now we're actually at the point that people aren't allowed to dance around the world. So even in Europe, they're having this, so you can't, like, they're having beer gardens, but they're telling people that they can't even dance because when you start dancing, then you're getting too close to people. Or you're also drinking, so you might get closer to people because you're not really aware of what you're doing. Which makes sense because, honestly, like, you don't want more of this to spread. And so now I feel like the conversation's on pause just because, like, no clubs are open.
Right. So with that, do you feel like your career is on pause, or are you making things happen for yourself?
I'm making things happen for myself. And these are also things that I already wish to do before the pandemic. So, like, having my EP out, I wanted to do that before even the pandemic happened. So I was still able to do those goals. Now things just, like, you know, look a little differently.
But I mean, how are you promoting it? I mean, generally you would probably be on tour, and you'd be promoting it in that way. Yeah. So now, what's your avenue for promoting yourself or promoting the EP?
So right now is just promoting it on social media and having, you know, interviews like this, or interviews like on a thing called Beatport, to have a conversation. And I would like to think of more marketing strategies, but that, you know, because there's I feel like there's so much you can do since everybody's at home. You can really connect with people, like, online or calling or emails, but I'm kind of moving forward on that because I don't want to sit in just, like, a marketing strategy. I want to do the next thing. So I did my EP, and then the next thing I'm doing is, like, merchandise and then music videos, because I want to do a music video really badly for this past EP, especially since, like, we're all in a pandemic. What I want to do for the music videos is, like, have them out by next year, so if things start rolling again, that we can start moving, then people can remember, like, oh yeah, she put out an EP during the pandemic. Then we can watch this music video too, to kind of recap of what happened.
Introduce it. Yeah. Basically. Mm-hmm. Speaking of videos, I don't know. I mean, are you out there a lot as far as YouTube as a video? I didn't think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because everyone's out there. All DJs are out there. You got DJ Cassidy doing this around the world thing, and then you've got D Nice, who did his 24-hour thing or whatever it was on Instagram or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And then you know the EDM DJs, Calvin Harris and You know, these guys are just always on YouTube with something recent. Even Idris.
Idris?
He did something in Paris or something like that
did
a couple
he?
of months ago that was live and so yeah. But everybody who's DJing these days seem like they're recording themselves as they do a set.
Yeah.
You know, David Morales. I mean, he's always got sets on YouTube. So have you chose not to do that, or?
I chose not to do that. I mean, I have, like, right before the pandemic, too, like, when I was a couple of days, or, like, I think that weekend, I was San Diego gig, I played for something called Mix Mag, and so
that was on YouTube. I watched that.
Yeah.
That was a good set for you.
Thank you. That was a really fun set, and I think with that right there, being there, that kind of helps. I think also with some of the virtual ones I've done for like movement, that's very helpful. But I haven't like had my own channel for my stuff yet, and I say that because like I have a few say sprouts already there, and I feel like those are really good sprouts, and I want to see them blossom and grow a little bit more. And for music videos, it'd be a different kind of feel, just because. Like I said, like making, doing the virtual thing, it just takes a lot of time and energy if you don't have the gear.
Yeah.
And like, I'd rather put some of that time and energy into making more music for next year.
So, you've shared with me in the past, one of your, I don't know, mentors or some like career path that you want to kind of follow is Black Madonna.
Yeah. Oh, now she's called the Blessed Madonna.
The Bus Madonna?
The Blessed Madonna.
Oh, the Blessed Madonna.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, what attracted you to her career path?
Attracted me to her career path is when I was working at Necto. There was a conversation in the basement between one of the, her name's Christina, and she's one of the booking agents at the moment at Necto. And her and one other person, which I can't remember his name on top of my head, moved to Berlin. And they were having a conversation about her because she was still a booker at a place called Smart Bar in Chicago. And they were explaining like how she's gonna be really big soon. She's gonna be very popular in the next couple of years, and that kind of intrigued my interest. Now, I didn't go searching what she did. I didn't, like, look into it at that point. But her name came up in a festival roster at Movement one year. And I'm like, this is the person that they were talking about. So let me go see her and see what's going on. And when I went to go see her at Movement, it just felt right. Like, she was playing a lot of tracks that I would play, too. And I was, like, really into. But just, like, the way she played them and the crowd feeling it. I was like, okay, this person, like, there's no possible way that I couldn't, like, try to go on the same path as her. Like, I still have my own identity, my own thing I'm supposed to do.
Sure.
But when you see someone that's kind of, like, that, you know, has the right energy that I want to do, I was like, okay, well, let me see what she's up to. Let me see how she got there and appreciate her story, because it seems like it was a lot more than... I would say a lot more than I had to go through, but definitely a lot of like struggle as well.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that kind of goes to what I share with you, my kids, is that, you know, you kind of take the pieces from several different people to make yourself, you know, kind of make yourself whole, make yourself well-rounded.
Well-rounded.
Yeah. You know, if you see something you like in that person, you grab that. You see something you like in that person, you grab that. And you just kind of make yourself a well-rounded individual.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, you know, where you're at with the Blessed Madonna.
Yeah, with the Blessed Madonna, because I think that's right. You're already whole and complete, but you want to like add more, because whatever you like in somebody's personality, you like because you already have it, and what you don't like in somebody's personality, I've noticed, is that you also have it. And you don't like that about yourself.
Okay, all right.
But that's okay. That's, you know, you just gotta love yourself more in those parts too.
Right.
But I saw a lot of myself in her, and so I just want to like enhance those moments.
Yeah. So, going back to the movement, you started off as a spectator, and you've gone from a kind of a side stage to a main stage. Do you pinch yourself when you think about that?
I pinch myself, but I also have to remind myself, like, the first time I went to Movement, in 2008, when I went, and I kind of, like, I think it was the first or second day, I was like, I want to do what they're doing. So if I remind myself like that was in my mind, I wasn't playing any music. I did not DJ. I didn't play any instruments at the time. I just like played a lot of songs between your record collection, my mom's record collection, friends' records, like anything they gave me. I would just listen to everything. So, but when I went to movement, that's what I felt like I wanted to do. And I think maybe a year or two later is when I start like actually playing on records,
Right.
or like touching one for the first time, a record player. And just kind of like went from there. So I pinched myself, but I also like remember for a full circle what started that thought and led me to where I'm at now.
So you said, okay, after 2 days of being at the festival, you were saying, I'm going to be on that stage.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take the steps to get myself there.
Yeah, well, not even the steps, like I just want to do that. Like, I just want to do what they're doing.
You hadn't mapped it out, but you said, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, yeah. Well, that's cool. So, unfortunately, with the pandemic, but do you have an idea of, or some vision of the next 5 years for yourself as an artist?
So, like, this is 2020.
Right.
And I'll be 35 or 36. So I feel like career-wise, I would probably be, honestly, making more music. I'll be making a lot more music, getting more comfortable with myself making music, and having more, like, definitely an album. I definitely want to do at least 2 albums between those times. And then I'm working on merchandise right now, so I'm hoping to have a flow of merchandise, like, consistent in a way, like, it's there for being creative. I want to do something else too. That'd be another hobby soon to kind of mold into. And then the idea of touring, I have a feeling in those 5 years, I feel like in less than a year, we'll get back to, like, being able to do things again. I feel like in less than a year, we'll be able to go back to doing stuff. And once we start doing that, it's pretty much just like, hit the ground running. Like, I have no question about that. And so I'll be, what I probably had planned for this year, it's going to probably triple from the gigs that were supposed to happen. It's going to probably triple.
Yeah.
So.
Well, one of the gigs that canceled on you, was that Ultra?
No. It was that week. That was that week. So we call it Miami Music Week. Okay. And I think Ultra's happening that week. Okay. But what I was going to do is a whole bunch of, like, parties in between. Like, one of them is going to be Club Space is a really big one, but I had almost 7 gigs lined up in less than like 4 to 5 days.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So, and that was like that first week, and that's when everything like just shut down. But I feel like it could be just that amount of energy for next year when things start start running again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I guess final question for you, and because the show is about introducing different genres of music to people, or at least a kind of foundation of the show is doing that. So tell the listeners techno.
Oh, tell the listeners techno.
Yeah.
For me to tell somebody about techno, I have to talk to them about my culture. I talk to them about Black culture, African American culture. They have to talk about America, and a lot of that tends to be, I would say, dark, but it'd be very revolutionary, and that's what I feel like techno kind of represents. But you have to feel that techno also came from everything from America. It came originally from Paris, but all you're having is different Black experiences of life, and all telling the same story of like a revolutionary story of how we've grown and progressed from being off on the cotton fields.
Detroit, is a city, that I feel introduced, well, for me personally, and probably everyone in my generation, introduced people to a large mix of genres of music. Right. I mean, Elton John himself came to the city because he appreciated what one of the DJs did here for him as an artist, playing, I think it was Benny and the Jets, how popular that
got really popular. I still like that song a lot.
Yeah, so he came here himself and shared one of his gold records with the DJ. So that kind of thing, Detroit, has done for artists all the time. People come to Detroit and get much love.
Yeah.
As a new artist or even artists who've been around for forever. This is again the first episode of Meet the Music. Our guest today was DJ Holographic.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate this.
Thank you for blessing us with the first episode. And
yeah, I'm excited for many more for you guys. Definitely, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, and our attempt is to now go from, our attempt is to reach out to listeners and go through a bunch of lists of different genres.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what our intent is to share and learn and put together shows that pique everyone's interest when it comes to music. And so with that, till next time.
Till next time.
I hope you were entertained by a special edition of Meet the Music. I want to thank DJ Holographic for helping us take our plunge into the world of podcasting. Don't forget to make your way over to Bandcamp for Parallel Shifting and Detroit Love Volume 5. Be sure to listen to our most downloaded episode on Zydeco genre with Michael Tessran. Thank you so much for joining us on our musical journey. Remember, if it's Monday, it's Meet the Music.